Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Monday, June 2nd. We're 5 minutes late. Had some technical issues here. That's what happens when
June
you're
2nd.
live.
Wow.
Dude,
What
this year
happened?
almost over. What's going on?
My kids are about to graduate high school and all kinds of stuff going on, right?
Yeah, my kids are out for summer already.
Yeah.
We kick off summer, I think, like, I don't know, April. Like beginning of the year, we're out.
Too hot for
It's
school.
too hot for sure. All right, man. So we're down one. It's just it's Cory and I, Cory Connors, host of Sustainable Packaging Podcast.
Good morning.
Adam Peak, host of People of Packaging Podcast, is out today. But definitely go hunt him down and give him some crap for missing the show. And then you got me, Evelio, host of Packaging Unboxed. So we're covering a couple things today. One, there's a couple things that I just had a conversation with the team over at Metsä board, if you're familiar with those guys out of Finland.
Great company.
Yeah. The conversation we had there was how maybe recycled paper isn't the most sustainable when you compare it to virgin. And they got a list of things, which were definitely thought-provoking. I hadn't really considered that stuff in the past. So we'll definitely got to get into some of that. We got a new segment coming up where you guys send us packaging and we'll review it. We've got somebody sent in some hot honey packaging to be reviewed, so we'll check it out.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and then get into some news. Wow! So before we get that, man, let's kick this thing off.
Let's go.
Yo, all right. So, are you familiar with Metsä?
Yes, great company. They've been on the podcast twice, or at least once, and I think we're scheduling another one. Nathan over there is a brilliant sustainability manager, and their whole team is just really insightful. So that makes sense for somebody like that to shoot it straight with you and say, hey, maybe that's not always the best option. This is something we've been talking about in the corrugated industry for many years, that when you use recycled content, the paper is not as strong.
Yeah.
And so you have to upgrade your ECT strength and your paper thickness, which means you have to use more paper. Oftentimes, now that isn't always the case, but I think you're exactly right. You have to look at the whole system.
Yeah, and it just mentally sounds like it's recycled. Yeah. This is better, right? Now you've got to use recycled. We've got this waste stream going. In order for this to function, you've got to have it, but not in every. Recycled isn't better in every case. And I think that's kind of the point, is that when you're looking at like food packaging, when you're looking at things that require a barrier, or if you're looking lightweight, recycled may not be the way to go.
And Metsä is similar to Weyerhaeuser, where I used to work, where they are monitoring their forests in a way that is unprecedented. They are nobody cares more about the forest management in a healthy way than the people that make paper and wood products, because they profit from it. And they are required. They need that material, and most of their forests are family operated by people in Finland, and go back hundreds of years or thousands.
Yeah, and actually Metsä is owned by a co-op of forest, like owners of forests, right? Which is amazing.
Yeah,
which is insane. Yeah, because you don't. Yeah, and this is part of the conversation that I have. I spoke to Nate, was that most paper companies don't. That's not the way that they operate, right? And that's the interesting part. But of course, that's what Metsä is going to say, because that's what the product.
Sure.
Right? But there's a lot of really good, valid points in that.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out, because it's super it's super interesting.
Yeah, thought provoking for sure, and conversation starter in the world of sustainable packaging. We could have hours long conversations about these thoughts.
Yeah. The other thing too was, did you see? Just getting into some packaging news. Did you see the Mondelez Oreo
Yeah.
Aldi
Wow.
thing?
It's
That's
hard.
gone
It's
on.
hard for me to believe that that hasn't happened before, and probably it has, because it's such a blatant knockoff of their material. It's you might as well call them Zorios. It's so similar.
Yeah, but I'm gonna put this up here. If you guys aren't familiar, put it in the comments. Let us know. Also, it'd be great if you let us know where you're watching from. Um, we always get people coming across the country. I know we kind of started late, but definitely always great to see where you guys are. So I'm gonna just share this on my screen here. Yeah, so this is the top one is obviously Mondelez, the OGs. You got the Nutter Butter, Chips Ahoy, Oreo packaging, and then down below you've got the competitive in-store brand, right? The peanut butter cream, chocolate chip cookies, and originals. The original chocolate sandwich cookies. And there's some liberties there with the word original, I think.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I'll say this: one, Aldi's been sued a million times for copying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've copied a million different products, a million different, it almost feels to me that some of these, the reason to copy and the reason to do it so blatantly is almost to get sued, because getting sued might be cheaper than marketing.
Is it that old adage of there's no such thing as bad press, right?
Yeah. So let's get after it and get some bad press. I think the consumer, if you buy the Aldi brand, and it's good enough. It's not like the
Right.
top, it's not like Nutter Butter and Chips Ahoy are the most amazing. The Oreos are definitely good. But if it's
I'm
close
a
enough.
I would have to say that I'm a huge fan of Nutter Butter. I don't eat them anymore, but I do love them. They're I don't know what it is about them. They're the flavor, and you're right, Oreos are incredible. Chips Ahoy are great too, but I haven't
Yeah.
tried all the alternative brands.
No, I mean, I'm sure they taste similar in some way. There's always like a little bit of off flavor,
Maybe we'll
but
have a taste test one of these days.
yeah, we should. We should. I'll tell you what, if you're eating, or if you do eat Oreos, do me a favor, get like a spoonful of peanut butter and just wipe it on your Oreo and just eat it. That is the best way to eat an Oreo.
What
Oreo
about
sauce.
the fork into the
Mm,
center part and then dip it into the milk?
yeah, that's a way too.
The
But
classic.
if you want to have something that is amazing,
If you love life.
if you love life, if you want to
Yeah.
live, get some peanut butter, wipe it on a standard Oreo or double stuffed Oreo, and just shove it in your face. It is the best. Oreo
That's it.
sells like a peanut butter version. It's terrible.
I haven't
But
seen that. I do like the blonde ones, vanilla or whatever you call it. Yeah.
yeah, no, nothing. Nothing like a spoonful of peanut butter on an Oreo.
That makes
All
sense.
right, man. So let's talk about this. We got this new segment coming up. It's um, viewer pack review.
Yep.
Took some liberties with Google VO3. If you guys haven't used Google VO3, go check it out. It's called Flow. Create some videos, audio. But this took about 2 seconds.
It's the Viewer Pack Review. You send the pack, the pros tell you what to do.
That's amazing.
Crazy, right? It's not great. It's not great.
But it got the job done, and it's impressive, and it's professional, and yeah.
Yeah. And Gene, the fork dip is the pro
Thanks,
move.
Gene.
That was the pro move.
Oh,
That was like the 70s pro move.
au
Today,
contraire, yeah.
pro move is peanut butter over.
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
Could you do both? What if we could combine these things?
You could, but you'd be putting the fork in to dip it into milk. and you don't want milk with the peanut butter. The peanut butter is so rich, and man, it's so good. Go try it. Let me know.
Yeah.
All right, so we got this viewer pack review thing. We got somebody submitted this packaging, and it's not the Aldi stuff. But I'll switch it here in a second. But let's kind of go through it. I'll share it now.
I thought when you first sent it to me, I thought, wow, that's really impressive.
But I'm going to tell you, yeah. I mean, so all right. So you see this. I want to get your feedback, and just to kind of level set here, Cory. You've been in packaging for 20 plus years now.
Yeah, 28 years.
Okay.
Started when I was 6.
Jesus Christ. You've been in packaging forever, so you've seen all sorts of packaging. But you've been on the back end of packaging, right? You've been on the production side. You've been on like the manufacturing. You've worked with a ton of different brands up and down different industries. This one's coming from Peter Thorley, who sent this in and politely asked to just get some feedback on it.
I think the first thing I saw was the honeycomb pattern on the bottle. I thought that's very intuitive. That screams honey. Of course, that is an international symbol of bees and honey. It's a unique shape for honey. Usually the shape of the bottle is the bear. That's kind of the iconic shape. But I like this new take on it. I like how the Winnie the Pooh is really muscular. I think that's super cool because honey is associated with health and fitness. It's an alternative to processed sugars. And, I like that, I don't know, as a Northwesterner, I like the bear's got the plaid shirt on. That's very tough and, strong. And I like it. I like that it's infused with chili. I see the flames at the bottom and the actual chili. That's very obvious. I think this is maybe a cannabis brand, though. Is it cannabis infused?
I don't think so.
Okay, because those symbols at the top.
I think that's the Canadian maple leaf.
Yeah, see that to me is so similar to a cannabis leaf that it may cause confusion. So that would be my detractor there.
That's a first.
I thought that was a CBD or cannabis infused product.
Okay. All right. So you're liking the direction. You're kind of feeling it.
Yeah.
On my end. Yeah. So on my end, the way I'm looking at this is, what are they selling?
Mm-hmm.
What's the product here? We're selling honey. It's infused with chili. They've got Winnie the Pooh is really large.
Yeah.
It even says Winnie the Pooh to the left of him. Winnie the Pooh, I think the trademark, the character registration's expired, right? The copyright on it is expired.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's like a Winnie the Pooh horror terror movie. As soon as those things expire, like there's a horror movie right after it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And then products. The fact that like this doesn't have a name, right? This product does not have a name other than hot honey. There's a million hot honeys on shelf. Winnie the Pooh is almost like an afterthought added here because even though he is
protein, yeah.
exactly one. That'd be cool. Is a protein infused honey. So like I would really kind of get back to like what are we selling here? The bottle I think looks like a stock bottle maybe. That's out there. It's got that honeycomb pattern on there. When you see the honeycomb pattern, you see the Winnie the Pooh, and then you see the chili. Those three things to me don't connect. And maybe the last time that I thought about Winnie the Pooh was probably like 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily something that I'm going to go, oh, this has to be good honey, right? Like if I'm going to go buy a product, why am I going to buy it? And I think when it comes to a product like this, it's because I'm obviously going to eat it, but it's spicy, so it's not like for kids. It's Brawny the Pooh.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
good point, Gene. It's
yeah,
kind of like the paper towel guy. Yeah, that's a really good point.
yeah, and I think and Chris, you're right. Miel Shout is for hot, like hot honey, but like hot in heat, right? Not necessarily spicy.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Hmm.
yeah, so that's a good point as well. Then if it is if it is a Winnie the Pooh focused product, then who's going to buy this based on Winnie the Pooh? And I think
Right.
that's a conversation that would need to be happen. That would need to happen. Um, you, I think, incorporating that into the name so that it becomes part of it. So if I'm searching online, I'm looking for, you know, Pooh Honey or Winnie Honey or like whatever that is. Winnie
Mm-hmm.
the Pooh. I think like in the book, like they spell honey Hunny
Why?
or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like combining those things, making it make sense versus putting a few different things together here. And obviously, going to an agency, paying professionals to do the work
Yeah.
should come with like a story and come with
Yeah.
like actually telling a story that builds this brand versus just like a potential label. So things that are working. I would personally get rid of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm buying because of the bear. I think
Mm-hmm.
that gets kind of confusing. It might look like it's something that's going to be okay for kids.
Make the chili larger, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's the flavor, let's focus on the flavor. What's I don't necessarily know what the Canadian part of this.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Maybe it's French Canadian, which is where the French comes in. That makes sense.
Yeah, so you've got
Oh,
yeah,
it's bilingual.
hmm yeah, but you've got I think things that are working is if this is the bottle that you're working with, right, and this is the bottle that you're working with because maybe it's stock. Perfect, not a
Yeah,
problem, right? So let's utilize that pattern in this label more, right? Like, do you bring it down into the top end of this label,
I agree. I
right?
would
So all of a
print.
sudden it kind of
Yeah,
blends.
the background should be the honeycomb.
So that's something that you could do.
Yeah.
Um, again, who are you targeting? Is this I buy a hot honey that's like a locally made hot honey. I
Hmm.
use it in a ton of stuff. Um, do we focus more on the spice? Where are
Right.
these chilies coming from? Infused with chili. Okay, what kind of chilies? Because I think people today are looking. Dude, I know I like when I shop. Maybe I'm a little bit different, but like when I shop, I'm going and I'm comparing. Like, all right, well, what's this? I've had this one. I bought this one last month. What is
Yeah.
this one? What's the
Try
difference?
something new. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So make this about what's in it versus about the bear because the bear doesn't. He's not spicy. He's super safe. Um,
He
so
looks a
I think
little
that that's
angry or a little tough. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
His
little
eyebrows.
lumberjacky
Yeah.
for sure.
I think I would certainly remove those two icons at the top on either side of Winnie the Pooh,
Mhm.
because that screams cannabis or CBD to me.
But it's the okay. But
That
that's
like it's almost like a caution. Like
mm, okay. All right. So I see where you're going. Like I think
yellow and red. Yellow means caution. Red means stop.
yeah,
These
but
are
the
these.
red's the color for the Canadian flag, right? But I
I
think being in that
I get
shape
that. Yeah,
and drawing so much attention to it,
yeah. You got to remove
again,
the black outline, or it will
yeah,
feel like a caution.
it doesn't add to the story here.
Yeah.
Those are not important features of the product.
Hmm.
Maybe that comes on the side panel and you tell a little bit more of the story about what's going on there. Um, and Chris is saying, according to ChatGPT, there are several brands in Canada and internationally that offer products under the same name or similar
Thanks, Chris.
experience. Yeah. So how do again, how do you stand out? If I were to see this on shelf, I'm like, oh, I want to try that out, but I don't purchase it for whatever reason. And then I go home and I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy it on Amazon. I type in hot honey.
Yeah,
I'm going to get a million
that's a
products on
good
the hot
point.
list.
Yeah, they've almost made their brand um, too common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those are pretty much just like a quick review of some of this is like, make it tell your story, figure out what that story is. What are you trying to communicate? Uh, and focus there. What are the benefits to the consumer? Why would I buy this? Why am I going to spend, you know, this thing's probably going to be like $12. Why am I going to spend $12 on this bottle of honey versus another one? Uh, and I can't even tell you what brand I buy, but it's like a local one. It's got like a bright, like neon reddish label on it, and it's got like
I've seen those.
big bold name.
Yeah.
And it's like it says local, and like it tells you like where the honey's brought from and what the chilies are, and that's it. And
That's
I can
all
even
it
tell you the
needs,
name,
yeah. Yeah, right. But you could find it on the shelf every time.
but I could find it every time.
Yeah.
Harris, absolutely. This is the review of packaging design. So if you want to submit some designs to review, let us know. You can put it, you can send it to us on LinkedIn. Find Cory, Adam, or myself. DM us, and we'd be happy to review it and give you some feedback. Yes, absolutely. We'd love to see your packaging.
We look forward to it.
Absolutely. One other thing. All right, so I don't know. I posted this thing from Google's Flow. Did you like this? Is insane.
Oh, the movie. Yeah.
The video. Like, have you? I think everybody should go out, Google Flow, the VO3, and just play with this because it is insane. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it.
I asked for foil stamping.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is just from a few different prompts.
And they gave me stickers, Deborah. Stickers.
They said it would ship in 6 weeks. It's been 6 presidents, Janet.
I suffered from lame-o packaging too, till I discovered Factory Direct technology, IDP Direct. Catch my drift?
IDP Direct's futuristic technology.
Like insane. You get 8 seconds of video, so you've got to plan it out that way. You don't get character consistency like you're able to get in ChatGPT. But this is just the first release. And in terms of like the way that I use this was like I put together like a couple ideas of what I wanted, and then I did that in chat. And then asked it to help me write the scene, like describe the scene. And it,
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, like it described the lighting, the person, the choreography, like everything. And even the music that you're hearing in the background is all put together. The voice, like the syncing of the lips, is insane. I'm sure everybody's seen like a ton of this stuff out there now, but I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks since this is released. And I think you've got to try it.
I think the next few years, I've heard that 90% of social media posts will be created by AI. And that's pretty daunting and something that people need to be aware of, and people need to know how to use it.
Yeah. Well, it's also a little sad, right? Because like if I look at LinkedIn today, if I look at YouTube today, I mean, there's a ton of AI content already.
Yeah.
Right. Like specifically like on if you're on X or LinkedIn where it's copy heavy, there's so much that is just AI generated. So the person didn't really put any thought into it. It's like they just put it into ChatGPT, had it write it for them, and then they posted it.
Yeah.
Now, if the content is good, it shouldn't necessarily matter, but you're kind of losing that person's voice and what they stand for, because now they're just republishing, a machine's information.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting transition, and I think all we'll really have is our personalities. People will be able to tell, oh, that's AI, and maybe there's going to be a lot of great AI content. There already is, So it's not bad news for everybody, but I think if my suggestion is to create your own brand as a person.
Yeah, and you can't do that with AI, at least not authentically. And like Harry says, it helps people kind of spend less time on the apps, because you're right. Like, I don't want to scroll through and see a bunch of AI generated stuff. If I wanted that, I would have just generated it myself.
I've noticed my social media use has declined significantly, and I think that I wonder if that trend will continue.
Yeah, and then what happens, right? And and Gene's asking, are creative agencies going to become more data entry technicians, or creatives are going to become more data entry?
And then maybe people start doing this crazy thing where they get together in person. I don't know, like weird.
Yeah, or they don't.
Or they don't. Yeah.
They don't leave their house.
Yeah, good point.
I don't know, but good stuff. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the comments. If you got any questions, keep going. It has gotten easier to spot the AI posts.
I agree.
But I think it's going to get harder as this continues to get better. I think it'll start. LinkedIn has its own AI built in. It's not great, but as I think people interact with it, and it starts learning, like, this is what more people interact with, this is what more people like, this is what more people comment on, it'll start refining the way that it structures itself. But definitely, it's not good. I mean, it's helpful if you can't write.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully Adam joins us from his pirate ship.